The closing gong there, live from the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, bringing to an end trading for the day. Management of Global Energy Services, the Spectrum Global Energy Services, who are set to list their shares on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, did the honors of beating the closing gong. We'll link up with TVC News business editor Effiong Ekop at the Stock Exchange, of course, for further details of today's proceedings. But first, welcome to Business Nigeria. I am Tolulokpe Ogunjobi. Glad to have you join us again. Now, arrowheads of the Department of Petroleum Resources say the downstream sector of the oil and gas industry is faced by a major challenge, which is the process of safety. They agree that there is need for more discussions and improvements in terms of safety. Well, Business Nigeria's crew caught up with the Lagos Zonal Operations Controller of the Department of Petroleum Resources, Mr. Wole Akinyosoye. He spoke extensively on issues surrounding safety in the downstream sector.
Talking about safety, you will discover that, fortunately for us in this zone, more or less, we have had very low safety incidents. That means that we have been operating very safely here. But you see, the domestic gas utilization project of government have been taking shape. Let's be specific. We have a healthy reserve of about 187 TCF. That is a trillion standard cubic feet of gas. That is a huge reserve of gas. And we are talking of about 170 million Nigeria. This presents a huge opportunity, if you'll agree with me, for economic growth for the country. And we have started seeing the results of domestic gas utilization in the number of people shifting from kerosene into gas. And especially in the Lagos zone, Lagos environment. More people are migrating from kero to gas, but there's also a downside to this story. And the downside is that you begin to have illegal gas plants and skids, and they are springing up at alarming rate, endangering people's life. Unfortunately, we have recorded some avoidable accidents in this area in recent past.
Well, he also spoke on the efforts made by the Department of Petroleum Resources to sensitize and enlighten operators on the need to adhere to safety standards.
To take the responsibility for their safety into their own hands most of the time. First of all, do not refill your gas when the skid is mounted on a vehicle. It's very dangerous. And if you look at some of these vehicles, you have petrol generators by their side. That is a palpably dangerous thing to do. People need to understand that it's not everybody that opens shop selling gas is accredited to do that. The first thing you need to ask for when you get there is, where is your DPR permit? And part of the thing we have been saying here, and we have been telling legitimate operators, when you enter into their skids onto their gas plant, you will see the DPR certificate conspicuously displayed. Many of these illegal skids, and let me first say that practically all of them, except the ones that will fake DPR certificates, will have nothing to show you. So what to look for is accreditation. And I can assure you that before we issue accreditation to any installation or for operation, we must have ensured that they have fulfilled and the safety conditions and standards. So that's the first thing to look for. Then secondly, when consumers go to markets to buy gas cylinders, they need to look at the expiry date. Like your car tires, there are expiry dates written into cylinders. You can find them around the valve area or at the bottom of the cylinder. So people have to take the primary responsibility for ensuring safety when it comes to things like this, because gas activities and gas explosion could be very dangerous when it happens.
Could be very dangerous indeed. The Lagos Zonal Operation Controller of the DPR also compared safety operations in the upstream and the downstream space of Nigerians' oil and gas industry.
I'll be the first to admit to you that things like we have been discussing are not as straightforward as we would like them to be, downstream, right? We have more order in the upstream sector, and the reasons are quite very simple. You see, participants in upstream sector, they are limited and they are few. You require quite a huge capital outlay to be able to make entry. So it's not an all-comer affair, unlike in downstream. So now you have quite a lot of people operating downstream. And so that will tell a story on how safety standards, adherence and regulation, and compliance will work out in both sectors. But that is not to say that we cannot maintain law and order or safety in downstream. And that is what we are doing. Because by the time we get back to you, you might have invested a couple of millions. And we are dismantling this. We are seizing the facility from you, right? That, we believe, will serve as deterrent, I can tell you.
Well, on how to deal with illegal operators of gas plants, Mr. Akinyosoye says the DPR is in partnership with various security agencies to actually address this ugly trend.
We work hand in hand with security agencies like NSCDC to arrest people on daily basis. And when they are arrested, these gas kits are dismantled. Illegal gas kits are dismantled. And also, they are, apart from taking all these facilities out of existence, they are also charged to court. And the most important thing also is that for public to know that these facilities do not patronize facilities that are not registered. That's the first thing to do. But on our own, we have been arresting them, we have been shutting down facilities, and we have been ensuring that none of these have any safe haven to operate in Lagos Zone.
Well, Akinyosoye there. We're away from that now. President Muhammadu Buhari has assured Nigerians that the nation's economy is on the path of recovery. The president said, apart from saving $500 million in the Sovereign Wealth Fund and investing another $500 million, the country's external reserves presently stands at $35 billion, the highest in the past 4 years. According to him, the federal government has saved more than 15 billion naira within 1 year after the establishment of an efficiency unit under the Federal Ministry of Finance in early 2016 to reduce wastage. Well, indigenous oil companies have recorded significant increases in their crude oil production, with their total output rising by 214% in 1 month. The data from the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NPC, showed that the total oil production from the indigenous independent firms stood at half a million barrels, up from 2.4 million barrels earlier in the year. Many of the local firms were hit by militant attacks in the oil and gas facilities in the Niger Delta last year, as their production declined until June this year, when the Focados export terminal came back on stream. Production by the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, a subsidiary of the NNPC in charge of exploration and production, declined by 52.9% last year. Well, energy analyst Marcel Ayawu now joins me via Skype to look at issues surrounding Nigeria's oil market. Thank you for joining us, Marcel.
Thank you.
Marcel, Nigeria's external reserve has grown to $35 billion and, a little bit of stability everywhere. I don't know, many have said this proceeds come majorly from the crude oil sales. Is this a step in the right direction?
Yes, it's a step in the right direction. And it will be good we look at the principles of.
All right, we're having some challenges there to getting the audio for Marcel, but we'll try to reconnect in the course of the program. But we'll take a break now, and of course, we'll be back with more. Stay with us. It's still Business Nigeria. Glad to have you back. Well, we now cross to the stock market where I have feeds that have information that business editor Effiong Ekop is standing by right now to join us on the show. Ekop, take it away.
Hello, good afternoon, Tolu. This afternoon, we had Spectrum Global Energy Services PLC listing 800 million shares on the trading floor of the stock exchange. Right here with me is the CEO of the company, Mr. Colum Doll. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
It is very nice that we receive your company, the first for this last quarter of the stock exchange. Sure. But the question is, why did it take your company so long to come to the exchange close to the end of the year?
Okay. Sometimes, Effiong, timing is not always in our own hands fully. Okay. But we feel even the opportunities for us next year and we believe 2018 will be an exciting year for our company. So we're well positioned. We've built solid foundations. So we see there's still value there despite the end of year timing or near end of year timing.
But investment in the oil and gas globally, they seem to be threatened by the initiative in the green world. Many people are looking for alternatives to oil and gas, commodities. So, are you not feeling that this will also affect your business prospects?
Not really, Effiong, because there was an impact going back 2014 and 2015, particularly with the shale gas initiatives in the US. But if you look back at the oil price pattern for the last 1 year, it's kind of stabilized between $50 and $60. So at that price, there's still good value in the industry. And the IOCs, when they have that price range and they see stability, are more interested in going back in to do capital projects.
Bringing 800 million shares to the trading floor, is that all that you can afford at this level? Why? Do you think that is appropriate for the markets?
That's where we are right now. We believe we're a growth company, and that takeoff will happen in 2018, and then we will increase the share value from there.
Tell me your growth prospects. Where do you want to be in the next 3 years? I mean, apart from trading your shares on the floor.
In terms of the
growth prospects, yes, generally.
Well, we're diversifying into other fields, okay, which will expand our business base, business divisions, and we will grow the company and expand the company, and that's our plan, and we expect to deliver on that plan.
Okay, so now the trading partners, who are there? How do you where do you have your foothold on?
In the industry, our core business.
Yes, in the industry. Yeah.
Our core business is offshore, in particular offshore marine services. Okay. We are also in the security patrol vessel business in the oil and gas industry, both for the IOCs and for cargo vessels. But we're expanding that growth into other sectors of both the marine industry and the oil and gas industry.
So my last question to you now, what do you see as the future of the oil and gas subsector, not only in Nigeria, but globally?
The reserves are there. It's a long-established industry, and it will be there for a long future.
Let me allow you so that you go and meet your guests upstairs and then interact with them. Thank you very much for talking to us. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
I've been speaking with Colum Doll. He's the CEO of Spectrum Global Energy Services that being listed on the stock exchange this Monday. Back to you in the studio.
All right, there, good one there, Effiong. Thanks so much, bringing us up to speed. 800 million shares, that's no joke, coming from an oil and gas company. Despite the price of crude seems to be on the good part now, $65 per barrel. Seems to be impressive. Well, still talking about that now, also talking about the oil market. I think I now have energy analyst Marcel Ayahu, who's going to be discussing issues surrounding the oil market. Marcel, if you can hear me, I talked about Nigeria's reserve growing, $35 billion as we stand. And much of all of these funds comes from the oil and gas. That's crude oil proceeds in particular. What do you think about this? I don't think Marcel can hear me. I'll still try to connect him, but let's see other stories as we still try to reconnect or try to connect with Marcel. The Standards Organization of Nigeria has raised the standards of coating materials for steel roofing sheets from just zinc to zinc, magnesium and aluminum. The agency said the standard was the latest in steel roofing sheet technology and in line with global standards. The Standards Agency gave the brief to steel sheet manufacturers at a meeting in Lagos, adding that the aim was to enhance the durability of steel roofing sheets. The Director General SON Osita Boluma, who was represented at the meeting by Assistant General or Assistant Director in charge of Mandatory Conformity Assessment Program, Fred Akingbesolte, said that Nigeria must comply with the new global standards. The new products, according to the agency, will last 5 times longer than the normal zinc roofing sheets used for building construction.
A roofing sheet is supposed to last for about 8 to 10 years before you see the brown rust. But this day you see it everywhere, 2 years after the thing has rusted. And we discovered most of the company could not make up with the coating requirements. In the process of time, a new product came to being, which is, apart from using zinc as coating medium for these roofing sheets, 3 different chemicals to form alloy are now being used, which are zinc, aluminum, and magnesium.
Hello, Marcel.
Hear you loud and clear.
Great, great. I was talking about the external reserves, the improvement which we've seen, and ascribing this to funds, of course, from the crude oil proceeds. Now, many are saying this might not be the right step when we're looking at diversifying our economy. What do you think about this proceeds from the oil and gas sector?
Okay, first of all, I would like to look at the excess crude account that was set up in 2004 to provide savings and stabilize the economy during shortfall. This is very good. This is what most nations that are dependent on natural resources to drive their economy do. So in Nigeria, looking at the excess crude account and the 2018 budget projection, daily projection, like production is allowed 2 million barrels per day, and our benchmark is $45 per barrel. And now crude oil is doing about $64, $65 per barrel. That brings us an excess of about 18 or 19 dollar in excess of what is projected. So what this means is that on monthly basis, we're supposed to be having an excess of about $1 billion coming into the excess crude account. So this is a very good development for the economy if properly managed.
Great one there. Now, but we're setting new, we still want to even increase production. We're looking at 2.5 million by 2018. With the stability experience now in the Niger Delta, do you see that as being visible? And also, there are new wells being discovered by the NNPC. We're not hearing much about this.
First of all, let us hope that the Avengers, the militants, will not strike again. That is one. 2, let us hope that Nigeria will continue to be exempted from the crude oil costs in the global market. So if this can happen, I think our economy will be good.
Good. Yes, indeed. What about the new wells? We even have some wells now being located even in the northern part of the country, moving away from the Niger Delta region. Even the north, I think there's discovery now by the NNPC just recently.
These are wells we are seeing paper exploration and production is not something that happened overnight. So until we begin to see a crude come from this acclaimed discoveries or this well, we cannot run on that assumption.
Indeed, Marcel, but Lagos is now an oil-producing state. I hope you know that.
Yes.
And the Badagry Ajay field, I think is actually producing now.
Yes, Lagos is producing. Then what quantity compared to the total projection we are looking at? So these are the things we really have to consider. What commercial quantity or what commercial value is the production in question?
Indeed, a great one there. That's a very valid point. Now, Marcel, before I let you go, let's look at our refining capacity. Many have argued that there is need to expand Nigeria's refining capacity, but nothing seems to be done. The refineries are still there, underproducing, turnaround maintenance, and some are even saying it's just a way to siphon money. Lots of accusations from experts and even industry watchers. What do you think about the state of our refineries?
This has been the problem. This has been the challenge we're having in the oil and gas industry in Nigeria. We have 3 refineries and none is working optimally. It's really a problem. It's really a challenge. We cannot go forward with this that is happening. So until we bring our refineries working, we cannot achieve much. That is the same corruption we are talking about. A lot of billions of dollars have been voted to bring these refineries working. Up to this very moment, nothing has been done, or nothing substantial has been done to make sure that these refineries are working.
Marcel, do you think...
So they still end at private pockets.
Marcel, do you believe public-private partnership could be better than government investing in these refineries?
I have been an advocate of public-private partnership. Government is never and will never be a good manager of enterprise. So it's common commercial sense to let go. Let individual companies manage these refineries. Let individual companies come in and make it business. So as far as government continue to lay hold on these refineries, we cannot make much progress.
Marcel Ayawu, I must thank you very much for your time. Energy analyst there, giving his views on issues surrounding the oil economy in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, crude oil prices maintained relative stability at the global market on Monday as OPEC and Russia meet this week to cement an agreement to further cut supplies. Well, at the London market, the European Brent trades at $63 per barrel. Before the OPEC basket price steadies at $61 per barrel. Both still above $60. Well, and that's it. That's a wrap on Business Nigeria today. Join us tomorrow, God willing, for a fresh edition. On behalf of the entire production crew, thank you very much for watching. Esther Omokpariola will be here with the news at the top of the hour. Bye for now.